We're going to journey straight from the dark, oppressive valleys of fear all the way up to the sunlit mountaintops of spiritual victory. We're diving deep into the powerful story of Judges chapter 4 today. And look, if you've ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, or just totally outmatched by the circumstances in your life, exploring this history completely shifted my perspective, and I really think it's going to do the exact same for you. We're looking at a profound, real-world historical event where totally ordinary people had to make a tough choice between cowering in the shadows or stepping out into the unexpected, radiant light of God's deliverance. Okay, let's dive right into this stark reality. The book of Judges kind of reads like a sad, repeating song. You know the tune. The people find comfort, they completely forget God, they fall into terrible trouble, and then they finally cry out. The text plainly states, the children of Israel again did evil in the sight of the Lord. It's a stark reminder that our human faithfulness can be incredibly fragile. Kind of like the Apostle Peter, right? The guy boldly swore he would never deny Jesus, only to do exactly that just a few hours later out of pure fear. Our own human resolve often crumbles, and when we rely only on ourselves, we plunge right back into dark seasons of our own making. And those dark seasons, well, they have severe consequences. Because of their disobedience, God actually allowed his people to be conquered by Jabin, a Canaanite king who ruled from a powerful ancient city called Hazor. For 2 agonizing decades, just think about that, 20 long, unrelenting years, God's people suffered under brutal, technologically superior oppression. It was this suffocating, desperate situation that eventually stripped away all their pride and drove them right back to their knees to cry out to God for deliverance. Now, what's truly wild about this historical context is the sheer scale of the terror they were facing. Jabin's commander, a guy named Sisera, operated out of a place called Harosheth Hagoyim. This translates to Harosheth of the Nations, and historically, it was a massive center for trade and ironworking. Sisera used this ancient military-industrial machine to build up an unbeatable, absolutely terrifying arsenal of 900 iron chariots. To put that into perspective, for an infantry-based nation like Israel, going up against 900 iron chariots wasn't just intimidating. On paper, it was literally impossible to defeat. But right in the middle of this darkest hour, God didn't send a traditional warrior king to match Sisera's military might. He didn't send some great, muscle-bound general. Instead, God chose the totally unexpected. I always find it amazing how he spoke powerfully through a woman named Deborah. She was a prophetess and a judge, settling disputes and speaking God's words while sitting under a palm tree in the mountains of Ephraim. What's so incredible here is her location. She was right between Ramah and Bethel, a region that at the time had become incredibly spiritually dark and just full of idolatry. Yet right there, right in the midst of all that compromise, God's voice broke through clearly, through a woman who completely defied every cultural expectation of her era. So the crucial point here is how the human partners in the story react to God's calling. Deborah summons a man named Barak, delivering a direct command from God to deploy 10,000 troops at Mount Tabor. But get a load of Barak's response. The guy was completely paralyzed by fear. He basically says, if you will not go with me, I will not go. He flat out refused to move unless Deborah held his hand. Now, while God didn't reject Barak for being timid, this fear absolutely cost him his personal glory. Deborah prophesied right then and there that because of his hesitation, the honor of defeating Sisera was going to be handed over to a woman. Which brings us to a timeless, foundational truth for us today, brilliantly captured in 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Guys, fear is never from God. When we allow the fear of failure, the fear of the competition, or even just the fear of the unknown to dictate our decisions, we completely miss out on the incredible, victorious path God has set up for us. Barak's hesitation is really just a mirror for how often we let our own modern iron chariots, our own anxieties, keep us from stepping into God's promises. I think this brilliantly illustrates the modern believer's walk. Just look at leaders today who have to make this exact same choice. Take Kwek Vernon, for example. He's a Singaporean business leader who went from working as a cleaner all the way to becoming a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. His journey wasn't some easy, straight line. It was filled with closed doors and a ton of uncertainty. But he chose to trust God's timing. He hit his knees in prayer when all business logic screamed at him to just push harder on his own, and he walked forward in faith when the path ahead defied all human reason.
You see, courage truly is the currency of the kingdom. And this isn't just about ancient battlefields. This is about your everyday life right now. Whether you're a Christian contractor in property development who needs the courage to build with absolute integrity and fight corruption, or maybe a lawyer needing the bravery to seek true justice instead of just grabbing the most profitable settlement for a client, stepping into God's calling always requires trading your earthly fear for holy courage.
So when Barak finally does step out in obedience, marching his 10,000 men to Mount Tabor, God shows exactly why courage pays off. Down at the unpredictable River Kishon, God completely routed Sisera's massive army. The Hebrew text actually implies God threw the entire enemy camp into a total panic. Suddenly, those terrifying, unbeatable iron chariots, they were completely useless. Just big, heavy liabilities bogged down and trapped in the mud of an overflowing river. God did the heavy lifting. Barak literally just had to show up. This kind of total reliance on God's power reminds us of faithful marketplace leaders today. Folks like Barry McGuire, the president of McGuire's Car Wax. When Barry faced the unimaginably heartbreaking tragedy of losing his daughter, he didn't retreat into fear or despair. Instead, he boldly used his massive corporate platform to proclaim the gospel of eternal hope, even at her funeral. He showed the world that true victory is all about preserving a legacy of faith and courage, knowing deep down that the ultimate battle always belongs to the Lord.
All right, let's move right to the climax of this historical account and see how this all builds up. Fleeing that muddy disaster at the River Kishon on foot, the enemy commander, Sisera, desperately seeks refuge in the tent of a woman named Jael. Now here's the catch. Jael's husband, Heber, had strategically separated from his own people to pitch his tent there, specifically to maintain a profitable worldly peace with the oppressive king Jabin. Heber basically compromised his values for job security. He chose a totally false peace over standing with God's people. Jael, however, she absolutely refused to be bound by her husband's weak political maneuvering. When the desperate commander Sisera arrived, she played the perfect hostess. She offered him what looked like a safe sanctuary, she gave him milk, covered him with a nice warm blanket to calm his fears, and then she waited. Once pure exhaustion pulled Sisera into a deep, heavy sleep, Jael took radical, silent, and totally decisive action, using just a simple hammer and a tent peg to strike him down instantly. In a single, decisive stroke, Jael completely fulfilled Deborah's prophecy that the honor would go to a woman. She used the ordinary, everyday tools of her domestic life to permanently vanquish a 20-year terror. Because she boldly seized the moment God placed right in front of her, the Bible records her deed with the highest honor, actually calling her most blessed among women. It is just profound, striking proof that God absolutely delights in using the unexpectedly weak and ordinary things of this world to completely confound the mighty. And just as God transformed the Apostle Paul from a violent persecutor into history's most influential missionary, using his very weaknesses to show God's perfect power, God is empowering you today. He is actively calling modern doctors to bring prayer into hopeless hospital rooms. He's calling technology engineers and designers to build with godly ethics in an industry that's obsessed with secular values. He is calling everyday believers to confidently use their ordinary platforms for his extraordinary purposes. So let this be our prayer as we absorb all the truths of this explainer. Heavenly Father, please forgive us for the times we've been paralyzed by fear like Barak, or when we've compromised our faith just to make a comfortable peace with the world like Heber. Give us the faithful, unshakable spirit of Deborah and the fierce, decisive courage of Jael. Help us to see the tent pegs and hammers in our own hands right now and give us the boldness to use them for your glory the exact second the moment arrives. As you step out of those dark valleys of fear and out into the brilliant light of God's victory, you have to ask yourself one absolutely vital question. And I really want you to take a second and reflect on this right now. What is the tent peg God has placed in your hand today? What ordinary resources, what unique gifts, or what passing opportunities is God asking you to strike with today? The battle absolutely belongs to the Lord, but the courage to act, well, that is your choice. If this explainer encouraged your faith today and inspired you to step into the unexpected, please do me a huge favor. Hit follow and subscribe right now to make this your regular devotion. We are growing a massive community of believers here, and we want you to catch every single new upload. And even more importantly, grab the link and share this message with a friend or family member who desperately needs the courage to move forward in their own life today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.